Okay, so my name is Morgan Scott, and I am the events coordinator as well as communications coordinator for the Quinte West Chamber of Commerce. I'm the staff person for the Quinte Young Professionals group. So just going to go over the agenda real quick for today's session. We're going to be speaking about record keeping and taxes, the community tools available for you, being safely social in post-COVID environment, and followed by a Q&A session that you can answer the questions live, or you can send them into the chat through Zoom here. So a quick bio on Tamitha before she goes into the session. She is the driving force behind a number of practices that are growing and ever evolving here in Ontario, Canada. Since the inception of the business in 2012, Tamitha and her team have focused on providing solid accounting and tax solutions to not only the local businesses in our area, but to other locations using the power of cloud technology and desktop solutions. Recently, you can find Tamitha spending much of her time giving back to both small businesses and accounting professionals by providing mentorship opportunities and online courses to encourage growth, adoption, adaptation to the world of the cloud-based accounting. If you want to learn more of information, you can find her hanging out on a number of social media platforms and sharing her wisdom through her podcast, The Bookkeeping Rebellion.
Morgan, that was amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you can go ahead and share your screen with your presentation.
Wonderful. Yeah, bear with me, guys. I am so not usually a very good. All right. Can we see this? Is everyone good? Nod, I can't see comments, speak up.
We're good to go.
Good to go, awesome. Okay guys, so I am not one of these stuffy presenters. I do have a bit of a shtick when it comes to these. I do like having open conversations and open question periods. I am not someone who leaves all questions to last, only because we tend to forget why we're asking the question and it comes out of context. So if you have a question, I'm not looking at faces or names, just pipe up, stop me. We can take a quick breather and we can ask a question during the presentation. Are we good with that? I'm going to, yes. So taxes and bookkeeping for young entrepreneurs. Now, I am going to say young entrepreneurs because that is who we're speaking to today. But taxes and bookkeeping are going to affect any business owner that has a small business in Ontario, Canada, I don't care, North America, quite honestly. So let's have a little chat about who I am. First of all, thank you, Morgan. I really appreciate you taking that wonderful opportunity to introduce myself. But I'm going to pull in a few more facts that people may not know about me. So for example, I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was 43 years old. So obviously not a young entrepreneur, but I'd like to think that I was. And in those years that I've owned my firms, we have become a 7-figure firm now with a number of employees and many customers. As I'd mentioned, or as Morgan had mentioned, our focus is to help these entrepreneurs, these business owners, move forward and be able to have successful, profitable businesses in this community. What community? It doesn't matter where you live, your community is mine. That being said, I am a multi-award winner in the Canadian accounting space. This is what I do. I have been doing this since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, quite honestly. My first accounting course was when I was 13 years old. The bug bit me and I have never looked back. So been around for a little while, and the knowledge level, I could honestly say I've probably forgotten more than the number of years that I've been on this earth, just for the amount of knowledge in my head. I am also an influencer and a mentor in my accounting space, as Morgan mentioned. This is something that I do in giving back to my community, because the more accounting professionals that are out there that have a solid understanding, the better it is for you, the business owners in our community. And last but not least, as mentioned, I love to speak and I love education. So this is why you're here today. And that is to be educated on 3 different separate points: record keeping, or as I call it, bookkeeping, and taxes. community resources and tools that you can use to help you grow your business in the entrepreneurial space, and social safety. So safely socialing in this post-COVID world. No, it's a bit of a buzzword these days, but trust me, it's something you're going to want to dig into, whether you're just starting your entrepreneurial journey or maybe you've been in your journey for a few years. At the end of the day, we now as entrepreneurs, we need to pivot. There's things that we used to be able to do 2 years ago that are frowned upon today. So let's look at some of those things or some of those tools that you can use to safely social yourself, your team, if you have one, and your business. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, let's talk about record keeping. Record keeping or bookkeeping, I don't care what you call it, is the opportunity to understand how much you're spending, how much you're earning, how much money you made, what you own, who you owe, and what's left over. So what I just said in that entire sentence sums up your income statement and your balance sheet. So record keeping and taxes, what does that entail? It does entail a number of different things, quite honestly. Receipts for your purchases. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to pull out and show you this file folder. Now, I'm not quite sure if you can see it. If you can't, that's fine. Just pretend you can see it with me. This file folder is filled with receipts. It's all paper. Every receipt is paper. And these add up, they collect. Sometimes we put them in our car consoles. Sometimes we use a file folder, sometimes we use a box. I've had them come to me in a plastic bag from the shopping center. But receipts in that format can get messy and they don't tell you a lot. You know you've spent this money to make money, or you have gone out and you've invested money into some assets so that you can make money. But all you have are all of these receipts. What do you do with them? Well, you don't put them into a plastic bag. The idea behind these receipts is to record them so you know how much money you've spent. But that's not all that record keeping entails. You get customer payments. What does that mean? Well, you're making money. But to make money, we need to know how much you made. And why do we need to know that? Because we have to pay the tax man at the end of the year. So for us to pay the right amount of taxes to the government, we need to keep track of how much money we made and how much we spent to make that money, customer payments and receipts for purchases. Now, I'm not quite sure where you are in your journey, but there's going to come a time, if it hasn't already happened, where you're going to need some help. This could be an employee or two. This could be a subcontractor. This could be a virtual assistant, depending on who it is that you need to help you move your business forward. So employees in itself, or subcontractors, let's just call it the help that you require, does take its own type of record keeping. So as you can see, just going through this process with me, we want to keep track of a number of different things. Now, why would I want to keep track of employees or subcontractors or, again, people that help me? Because at the end of the year, I have to tell Revenue Canada that I hired this person and this person was paid X number of dollars, and that makes this person, because you've filed this document, this person now has to report that money to Revenue Canada. So you have done your part to keep everyone compliant by issuing these documents. 3 different pieces to the record keeping puzzle, but we're not done yet. There's still more pieces to the puzzle. Taxes. This is the big one. Everything that we do as business owners ultimately ends up in the hands of the tax man. So let me tell you a little story here. I had a client come to me, and I will never mention a client's name. You're always going to hear me say the client. I had a client come to me, and the client came with a plastic bag of receipts. This person looked at me and said, "I'm not sure how much I owe the government. And they looked at me scared. They had fear in their eyes. They were a little hesitant, and they hadn't come and seen me for 2 years. So now the fear was building up, the anxiety was building up. They had no idea how much they owed for taxes. So they didn't file. They were afraid. So when I sat down with this person, I explained to them the beauty of keeping track of all of their records so that they didn't have that overwhelming anxiety at the end of the year when they had to prepare their taxes. So let's get serious here. It's not a fun job. And I will be the first to say that accounting professionals who prepare taxes are crazy. And I'll be the first to say it. I am one of them. We are a unique breed, but not everybody enjoys this process. So to help take away the anxiety, this is where record keeping comes in. We record what we buy. We record whether it is something that's going to help us run our business or if it's something that I spent just to help me move forward. I need to be keeping track of what my customers pay me because that is my gross income. And I need to report that number to Revenue Canada. If I miss a payment that someone gave to me, I underreported. If I didn't capture or record something that I purchased for the business, now I'm paying too much in taxes to Revenue Canada. And maybe I have an employee or someone that's helping me out and I have paid them money to help me and I didn't record that. Again, now I'm paying more in taxes to Revenue Canada. So I'm pretty sure you can see the value behind keeping track of everything you spend and everything you earn in your small business as an entrepreneur. Because who do we end up seeing at the end of the day if things aren't pretty, if things are not in the way that they should be? It's called a CRA review, otherwise known as a CRA audit. A lot of people don't like those words and it scares them. Well, trust me, it's not as scary as you think. And if you ever have to have a review, I promise you, you're going to learn something from it. The person on the other end is just like you and me. They put their pants on one leg at a time, and those people are only trying to help you become a better business record keeper. Not a better person, but a better record keeper. So let's carry on. So we have some points to ponder. Analyzing, when it comes to record keeping, you're doing it for a reason. One of them is to analyze the numbers. I can sit and I can have an entire box of receipts and statements and check stubs from people who paid me, but that doesn't tell me anything. It tells me that I have a pile of records, but it doesn't give me at a moment's notice, how much money did I make in the month of January? How much money did I spend in the month of December? And how much was my profit for the entire second quarter of the year? For me to be able to sit down and see those numbers, I need to do my record keeping. I have to be able to sit down and record it so that I can analyze if I'm doing well or not. If I were to invest in a certain type of product to sell to you, I personally would want to know if that was worth selling. Was I making money on it? So if I went out and I purchased a widget to sell to anyone in this room today, and that widget cost me $7, and I sold it for 10, you'd think that I made $3 on that widget. Possibly, but did I take into consideration all of the other costs to sell that? Maybe there was heat and hydro. Maybe there was other expenses that I just didn't think of at the time. This is where analyzing your numbers comes in handy, and this is first and foremost when it comes to record keeping. Another reason why we record keep and we pay our taxes is to keep ourselves organized. There's nothing worse than sitting down with my friend that I just discussed with that plastic bag and having that level of anxiety, not knowing how much money you spent, having to bring that entire bag into an accounting professional at the end of the year and having to pay additional monies just to keep track of the money that I've spent. Keeping myself organized saves me money. It allows me to make some business decisions, and it helps me analyze my own numbers to see if I'm making money or losing money. You'll notice that this particular chart is in a circle because this is what record keeping is all about. The next part of it, though, is tracking. So yes, I can analyze and yes, I can organize everything, but I really want to track my profit. And you guys all know this year, last year too, cash flow is pretty darn important. I'm not sure who in this room today has taken advantage of some of the subsidies or some of the loans that have come out from the government due to the COVID. Keeping track of those types of liabilities is something that as a business owner, you're going to want to do. Same goes with cash flow. How much money is coming in? How much money is going out? How much profit am I making? How much money am I losing? These are all key pieces of information that help you grow, that help you make a better business for you, your family, and your community. I keep coming back to this word taxes. Not that I don't love taxes, because I don't. I don't think anybody in the room does. And if you do, put your hand up. Taxes is something that we have to do. So I can't remember who said it, but there's two things in life that are absolutely going to happen. One of them is taxes and the other one is death. So let's look at not paying any more than we have to. How do we do that? We keep track of our bookkeeping. I don't want to pay the tax man any more than what I am entitled to pay. I absolutely can pay more if I wish, but wouldn't I rather like to keep that money in my back pocket and not in the hands of Revenue Canada? I would say so. This is why record keeping, and I'll say it and say it and say it, this is why record keeping is so very, very important. I had a gentleman and a lady both come in here, again, no names, and these people had paid installments on their taxes. They were being extremely proactive, which was fantastic, but they still had no idea, because they were not record keeping, how much they had spent, how much they had made, and how much money was left over at the end of the day. So they paid their taxes, they paid tax installments. This was money that they now no longer had access to. I hate to tell you how much this young couple had paid to the tax man, but it was far in excess of what they needed. So another reason for you to record keep and keep track of these things, so that you're not overpaying the tax man. You don't want to do that. Last but not least is peace of mind. There has been a number of people that have reached out to me and told me that they've had a lot of anxious nights, especially as we get closer to January 1, and they know that they have to sit down and say, oh, I've got to figure out how much I made. I've got to report it. I don't know. And they start feeling these levels of anxiety. By setting them up with a solid record keeping system, they have peace of mind. They're not worrying about those things. They're not worrying about whether or not they have enough money to buy groceries next week. They're not worried if they have enough money to pay their employees next month, because they have this information in front of them. They can analyze the numbers, they can organize the material, they can keep track of what they're doing, they can pay the tax man the right amount of money, giving them peace of mind. So as I mentioned, this is a circle and it's never ending. Once you do all 5 of these, you have a really solid system in place. But we're not done yet. Let's talk about our second topic today. And I'm not hearing any questions. Does anybody have a question or two that they want to throw out while I drink a cup of coffee? I'm going to take that as a no. All right, let's talk about our community resources. In Quinte West, we are extremely lucky. We have a number of organizations. We have a number of tools and resources that we can access. And thankfully, a lot of these tools are online, which makes things a lot easier for us, especially right now. So let's look at financial first and foremost. You can go online and I am going to say this in the form of a verb, and Google it, you would be surprised at the number of tools that are available to you free of charge. And the most it's going to cost you is the time to find them. You can find calculators. You can find templates for invoicing, for spreadsheets, for keeping track of your numbers on a day-to-day basis. These are tools that are out there that are easily found. You can get them from BDC. If you are a member of the CFIB, I also believe that our Chamber of Commerce has a plethora of tools that are available to you as a member itself. So these are community resources that I have found invaluable on my journey. When I started out, I needed these tools. I didn't have them at my fingertips. And trust me, I did a lot of research on my own time to find these tools to make me a better business person. But that's not all that's out there for resources. There's also marketing resources. Now you're noticing a lot of these tools or community resources that I'm sharing with you, they're either very low cost or they're free. And the reason I'm giving these ideas to you so that you go and you look for them. So let's talk about marketing a little bit. Free branding tools, knowing what your color schemes are like so that you're constant and consistent with your messaging across the board. Using webinars for educational purposes, very similar to one just like this. Getting the knowledge that you need so that you can build your business and build it in a way that's going to allow you to be successful. Finding those templates that will help you create your branding materials, templates to help you build your website as a great example. Anyone here building their own website right now? I'm not. I haven't built one in quite some time, but I used a template for mine. Very straightforward and very easy. I'll show you at the end.
We have two at the moment.
You have two websites or two questions?
Two websites.
Oh my goodness. So I would love to know which ones they are because I am a little bit of a website snob. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, all good. I'll drop the link in the chat.
I would love it if you would do that for me, please. That would be fantastic. And then I'll share mine later. So
Awesome.
and you built yours, you said, Adam?
One is actually linked up to Google. So any updates or photos that we do, it gets automatically updated.
Perfect.
The other one, though, the .org, was created ground up.
Nice, nice. So are you using Zapier to move?
Sorry?
Are you using Zapier to move your information from the Google to your website?
Actually, I found a link through I think it's called Google One.
Yes, yes. Just seeing where your knowledge level's at. So there's not too many accounting professionals that love marketing as much as I do. Yeah. Just putting it out there.
Marketing, honestly, I'm just finishing up my final year in the advertising and marketing program.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I started with the video production actually, and I graduated that program, but I found it wasn't making me any money, unfortunately, because I was missing the selling and the marketing and the advertising side.
Got you.
I mean, so I went back for that, and I'm just finishing that up now.
And how are you? I know we're off topic here. How are you enjoying it?
Honestly, I'm loving it. The professors are really hands-on. It's good. Entirely practical. We're honestly doing this for our final presentations, basically, in the program right now. Not taxes, but our campaign plans, right?
Well, I'm glad to hear that because that's going to lead me into my next point. Having teachers like that who feel that you are being mentored by. Right? So you're learning from these people. Another community resource that you just inadvertently shared. You have a professor, which is great. I happen to have turned to another business owner in my community, and I looked to that person with all of my questions. I sat with this person for 3 hours in a coffee shop. And thank God the person who owned the coffee shop was very understanding because all I did was eat cookies and drink coffee. And this person was so good. They let me sit there and just pick the brain of this business owner. And I was asking questions about, should I rent my first space? And how many employees should I have? And should I even have employees? Should I go with subcontractors? What I'm getting at is mentors can be your best friend. Nobody got into entrepreneurship knowing everything. So finding this resource inside of your community, it could be someone who lives in BC. It could be someone who lives in Florida. It doesn't matter. As long as you have an affinity for that person and they understand where you are and where you want to go, and at least can talk you through it, answer those questions for you. Mentorship is really, really important as a resource. And trust me, there's so many of us out here. I'm one of them. We want to see you all grow. That's the way it is. But that's not your only tool that you have under the mentoring label itself. We have tools like BDC. BDC is amazing. They not only help with funding, they do all of these webinars. They have different tools that you can download from their website. I have no idea who's drawing that on my screen, and I apologize. Oh my, okay, I'm not clicking anything right now. But it's not the only one out there. So there's TrendVal, who is sponsoring this particular scenario or these webinars. And please know, I'm not paid to toot TrendVal's horn, but I do know that they're very, very good, and they have a plethora of tools that you can utilize. And those aren't your only resources. Hook up your Chamber of Commerce. Go and check out the local community. I'd love to see you go down and see our mayor and see what tools they have down there for you too, right? Look at our library, Google it. All of these are at your disposal, free of charge, except for your time. Now, last but not least, and I did kind of touch on it a little bit, is funding. This is not free. I hate to say it. When it comes to funding, you can get loans or grants. And if you've been around for a little bit and you were in business in 2019, you may have the ability to participate in some of the COVID-19 funding that is out there right now. I'm not going to deep dive into this topic. It's a little vast, it's a little broad, and everybody's situation is different. If you are looking for that type of help or that type of discussion, hit me up later and we can have a private conversation. I don't want to go into it here, but long and short, if you were in business in 2019, let's see if you haven't received any funding, if there's something out there that you can participate in. But there's not only funding for COVID, there's small business loans. There are grants out there as Aboriginals, as women in business, as people in minorities. There are so many opportunities for you to find funding within your community. But not only loans and grants, there's angel investors, and there's incubators and accelerators that can help you grow your product or your vision if that's where you want to go. There's a lot of tools and a lot of resources out there for you. You just got to know where to look. And sometimes that's where the mentor comes in. Always full circle, right? So I have a gift for you. This is my website, and this is my resource page. If you scroll down on my website to the bottom on the left-hand side, you're going to see from this picture that I have a small business income and expense worksheet. Not everybody can afford to invest time and money into an accounting tool. Not everybody understands it, and I respect that. But all of us know how to add one and one, and most of us have access to some form of a spreadsheet program. It could be Excel, it could be Google Sheets, it could be a free product out there. This particular spreadsheet will open in it. Now, in this spreadsheet, I help you calculate what your business has made over the year so that you can enter it on your taxes. So it's a small little gift for you. It's not a big one, but at the very least, if you're going to have a resource that's going to benefit you right away, talking to an accounting professional, the best I can give you is an Excel spreadsheet that you can manipulate and utilize for your business. We take into consideration on this spreadsheet the fact that you may be using your vehicle to drive from point A to point B in your business. So you can keep track of your mileage, your gas, and all of the expenses for your vehicle. You may be one of these people that are running your business from your home. Did you know that there's expenses that you could write off against any income that you've earned? In this spreadsheet, we help you keep track of that. You perhaps could have spent money on expenses to grow your business. Well, we all need to keep track of that information so that we can sit down and calculate the taxes at the end of the year. And when I say we, I don't mean me, I mean you. So this is your tool. This is my gift to you, and I hope you find it useful. But that's not all. There are other tools out there. We have video and audio tools that you can use for keeping track of your business. For example, Zoom or Loom, like you see today. This is what we're utilizing in this particular webinar is Zoom. But you can use podcasts or a tool that I have just recently been looking into. It's called Vidyard. Check it out. But you can use written tools, email, forums, and website content. All of these tools you'll notice are online. These are things that in our industry, not just mine, but I'm sure in yours too, that are changing. We're getting rid of the face-to-face. So start to pivot, and using these more, we'll call them digital tools, will help you and your business. And these are personally the apps that we use. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of any of them, but Slack or Teams, interchangeable. I've used them both. Trello and Asana. I personally prefer ClickUp, but both are very, very good for keeping track of the work that you want to do. And just as a side note, if you're growing your business, all of the information is in here. You want to get the information from here down on paper, because here's the thing. The only way you're going to grow your business is to teach someone else what's already in your head. By writing it down and recording those processes in something like Trello, Asana, ClickUp, or something similar is going to allow you to bring someone else in to do that job so you can focus on the bigger work. Okay? And that's not all. Let's get on to our last point and topic, because I am being very diligent. I want this to be done by 9:45 so we can get those questions in. What does social safely mean? Okay, who has started their business? Come on, Sean, put your hand up. No, you can't do that. Okay, I started my business. I started another business in 2021. Now, the joy of starting a business is the excitement. I can do this and I can do this, and I'm so excited, and I'm going to help all these people. And then COVID hit, and I couldn't get out in front of those people, and I couldn't share with them my visions. I couldn't, because the current situation wasn't allowing me to do the things that I used to do in the way that I used to do them. I used to be able to go out and shake the hands of people face to face. I used to be the one who used to go around and hug somebody or give them a pat on the back to say, hi, how are you? And Morgan is smiling at me because I'm sure she's been one of those people that have been a recipient of one of my hugs. We can't do that anymore. So what does that mean? That means we have to pay attention to certain things now, things like health and safety. So if you're paying somewhat close attention to what our government is coming out with on a weekly basis, you will notice just last week alone, there was 3 changes to how business owners have to go forward inside of their business to not only protect their employees, but to protect their customers. Socialing safety, I can't even speak, guys. Socialing safely means you have to pay attention to these things. Investing in this knowledge of what the government is doing for us and preparing your business to move forward, to pivot through this change. Health and safety becomes really important, not only for you, but for the people you serve. And that could be the people that work with you, your team members. You have to be able to feel comfortable pivoting. I hate to say this, but the number of times that I myself as a well-established business have pivoted in the last year has been astronomical. I think I've pivoted more in the last 13 months than I have in the last 10 years. This is something that you as a new business owner is something that you get used to. Now, I don't want to seem like a Debbie Downer here, but be comfortable in listening to someone else and hear what they have to say. I know as a business owner that sometimes I get a little set in my ways. I want it this way. This is the way it's going to be because I'm the boss and that's it. And then I listen to someone else who comes to the table with a different take, a different idea. That's pivoting. That's pivoting my thought process. I really think that this is something that for us to safely move forward in this new way of working, we have to feel comfortable with pivoting and the rules that go with that. Employees, virtual assistants, subcontractors, the person that works with you, beside you to build your business. We have to feel very comfortable in safely socialing with these people. I cannot say these two words together, guys. I need to go back to bed. I have been up for way too long. I can see this already. For us to be able to continue the growth, we need to think of these people too. And that could mean as simple as putting sanitizer everywhere. You have someone who answers the phone for you, teach them to wipe it down. You're protecting them and you. Somebody comes to the door and knocks at the door, keeping that 6 feet distance, my friends, come on. Wearing your mask. I am not here to harp on any of these things. It's just socialing safely. And digital tools. So like I said, there was a time when I could take my business card, and I can't even remember if I even have a business card anymore. Oh, here we go. Business card. I used to take these and I used to go to all of the events for the Chamber of Commerce, and I used to go out, shake hands and hand my cards out. This is almost obsolete today because of what's been going on. Using digital tools to get the word out is what I've been using ever since. Using forms and having them on my phone and sending out that information to a prospective client, customer, or lead, I get their information back and they have my contact information. No piece of paper, but I found a digital pivot to get my information into their hands. That's socialing safely. But don't forget, you do have government funding. There's many tools out there, many ways for you to fund these endeavors. Digital Main Street has something out there. I do believe it's for a website. Is that correct, Morgan? Please, I do understand that that's correct. So Digital Main Street's out there. They have funding to help you build your marketing exposure. You've got different tools that the government has come down with. There's also grants. And as I had mentioned in the past, if you are a woman, if you are someone of a minority, there are other grants and loans out there that are specific just for you. So these are some of the things that I pay attention, and then I talk to other business owners about, especially right now. It is going to be our way our world is going. So let's pay attention. And I still don't understand why I have this blue line all through my, interesting. Okay, so pivoting to the digital space. And I am going to actually back right out of that. My apologies. I'm going to go right to here and say, is there any questions? Sorry, I liked my question marks the way they come in. I would do that again, but they won't let me.
So I have a quick question. I am not a business owner.
Yes, you are.
Is it trickier now as the tax expert to help file the taxes for small businesses given the amount of funding that's available for them?
There is some rules out there that have changed. For example, if you took advantage of any of the SEBA loans, you do have to record a portion of that with your current income for this year. So if you took the $40,000, that $10,000 that was forgivable is actually recorded as income in 2020. Now, if you took the 60, then the 20 is recordable. So yeah, there is some rules that have changed depending on if you had taken advantage of any funding. If you are a sole proprietor that couldn't work after COVID hit and you took CERB or an equivalent with EI, bear in mind that that was not taxed, and you will be taxed at tax time. Generally speaking though, depending on the level of your income, you didn't need to put 25% away. You could be anywhere between 10 to 30%, depending on your income already. So remember that it's not just your CERB, it's any other income that you've made outside of that. But outside of that, Morgan, good question. Yes, there are some changes in 2020 that we haven't had to focus or face in the past. One thing that I can say, which is great, they did keep the climate action incentive. That is a financial kickback or money that you're actually receiving at the end of the day from Revenue Canada, and it helps offset those carbon taxes that we're paying. So yeah, outside of that, there is some changes. Every person is unique. I can say that with some level of certainty. Really speak to your professional. I can say that. If you're looking to learn a little bit more, there are tools out there if you want to learn to do your taxes yourself. I would though suggest that if you do prepare your own taxes, have someone else take a quick look at it because there may be a deduction that you're missing. That's it. Adam, that's
Sorry,
my boy.
I got 3 questions actually. Sorry.
Okay, go.
So me and my wife, I was driving an older vehicle until recently.
Okay.
And we just actually, with a lot of help from family, upgraded to have a more dependable vehicle so that we could get out to video shoots and photo shoots. Would that count as a business expense or a personal expense? How would that look?
So there's 2 different ways that you can record that. You can
Okay.
record strictly just the mileage from getting from point A to point B. So let's say you drive 10 kilometers a week. I'm just pulling a
Okay.
number. You drive 10 kilometers a week. You drove 520 kilometers over the course of the year for business related purposes.
Okay.
You can take those kilometers and multiply it by 58 cents per kilometer. And that's
Okay.
could cover all of your costs, right?
Mhm.
And that becomes an expense on your personal taxes on your 2125, which is sole proprietor income.
Okay.
Okay, wait, that's
Okay.
option number 1. Option number 2 is it's a little bit more complex and it's a lot more work. I'm not going to lie. You have to keep track of not only your mileage, but all of your costs. So if I go out and I buy gas 7 times over the course of this week, I don't throw away any of those receipts. I keep them all.
Okay.
Because I'm keeping track of every kilometer that I drove, and a portion of those kilometers are strictly business, and a portion of those are strictly personal. So I am only going to claim the business side on the
Okay.
2125. It's a little bit more complex, but you're guaranteed you're going to cover every possible penny you're entitled to that way,
That makes sense.
or 58 cents a kilometer.
Okay.
Easy
And
peasy.
thank you. And as far as buying the car, the family helped us buy it outright.
Okay.
Would that be an expense or would that be a personal expense solely?
That is a personal expense
Okay.
unless you are a corporation. If you are a
Okay.
corporation, the corporation can purchase the vehicle. But if the corporation purchases it and you drive it for personal use, you now have a taxable benefit that you have to claim at the end of the year from the corporation.
That makes sense. Okay. I
Okay.
definitely haven't even reached close to that stage yet, but hopefully one day.
And you know something, I have no doubt that you'll do it. It's we have these I call them dreams because that's what it was for me. But 99% of us have amazing concepts that will lead us to corporations, to incorporating.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Tabitha, by the way,
Oh,
and
you're
Morgan and everyone
welcome.
for doing this.
So that was only one
Um,
question.
yeah, sorry, I still have the 2. Do bills have to strictly relate to the business, or like say if you're in and out of your home and operating in and out of your home, would you be able to claim any of those expenses?
Absolutely. So those are called business use of home.
Okay.
Okay. So using, we'll say your office is in your home.
Okay.
And that's where you do your business. That's where you create your contracts. That's where you do your editing, all of those things for your business.
That makes sense.
That space, that specific space, so that could be a 7 by 10 space in a 1,200 square foot home, that is your office, and that office space can be used as a deduction on your income tax if you earned income.
That makes sense.
Cannot use business use of home expenses if you are in a loss.
That makes sense. Yeah, these are all future questions just because I'm
That's
just coming
okay.
out of the advertising program,
Ask
right?
the
But
questions.
I just want to make sure my bases are covered, right? So I
No,
really
that's
appreciate
a
you
great
again,
question.
guys. And the last one is if you get any assistance from, say, the government, because we are in tough times,
Yes,
trying to start up a business is really hard also in these
it is.
times.
It's very difficult.
If you haven't made a profit yet, is there anything you can possibly claim, or do you have to show proof of a profit loss?
You will be showing proof of profit loss in your income tax return. It
Okay.
is called, the actual form is called a T2125. So if you
Okay.
Google it, it will give you the full name of what that actually represents. I'm sorry, I'm giving you the short
All
form
good.
that I know it as. And what that particular form does on your income tax is it shows the government how much money you made in gross, and then
Okay.
all of the expenses that you spent to make that money. Now, that could be office expenses, that could be, bear with me here, I'm mentally, you could have paid
All good.
professional fees, you could pay bank expenses, you could be purchasing, and bear with me here, I'm just going to do a quick look if you don't mind, because I am
Yeah, no
drawing
problem.
here.
I appreciate you guys answering these questions. It helps
Well,
me out for the future for sure.
you're welcome anytime. I am very open to that. Hang on here, just opening up a tax return, my tax return. All right, here, 2125. So again, if you go to my website and go to the resource page, all of
Yeah.
this information will be there for you. So it does make it easier.
Perfect.
All right, so some of the expenses, and a 2125 is otherwise known as a statement for business or professional activities in the eyes of Revenue Canada. They ask you to list out what your gross income is and your expenses. So those are the monies that you spent to make that money. This is why it's really important to keep track of all of your expenses, because you want to decrease the income as much as you possibly can, so you pay as less tax as possible, right? That is your God-given right as a Canadian citizen. You're not allowed to evade taxes, you're allowed to avoid. Make sense?
That makes sense.
Yep. So here are some of the things that you can claim and still be in a loss position and be okay. So you can claim advertising expenses, half of your meals and entertainment, and that doesn't mean you can run down to the local Captain George's and buy dinner and then go home, because that's not considered meals and entertainment. If you're taking a customer out and you're smoozing them or you're wining and dining them, that would be a meals and entertainment. Please bear in mind that you can't take them to the golf course, even if you could, because that is not a business expense, but you could take them to a ball game.
Okay.
Okay. Bad debts. So if someone doesn't pay you for work that you've done, I really recommend on getting payment up front if you possibly can. Most
That's
people or
awesome.
businesses are accustomed to that now. Insurance that you pay for your business, but not life insurance. Okay. Life insurance doesn't count. Interest. So if you've paid any interest on any bank loans or those, but it has to be bank loans that are specific to the business. Okay. No personal funds here. Business taxes, office expenses, stationery for your business, professional fees. If you pay rent for a location, and no, you can't pay yourself rent, but if you would say rent an office in my co-op space that I don't
like a
have,
storefront kind of, yeah.
exactly. So rent, repairs and maintenance. So maybe you're like me, and I went out and I had the windows painted on my building and then had to get them all scraped off. And that's repairs and maintenance because I had to pay someone to come and do that.
Makes sense.
Travel expenses, salaries and wages, or subcontracting fees. So you pay someone to do like this one job for you. You want them to build your logo for you. You give them $500 subcontractor fees.
Okay.
Utilities, fuel costs, and that's not for vehicles, but fuel as in heating my location.
Yeah.
Delivery, freight, postage, all of these are expenses that you could be spending more than you're making and be in a deficit, and that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. But if you are in a deficit after taking into consideration all of these different types of expenses and you're in a loss position, you cannot use business use of home.
Okay.
Okay.
That's perfect. It's kind of nice to be in this position, honestly, because over the last too many years of school, I've been building my portfolio up because a lot of the time, sadly, people want to see what you've worked on first before they give you the job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, up until this point, for half of the different type of genres I want to help out with, I've had almost nothing. So it's kind of nice to be at this point now and start thinking about the future and what I'm going to have to do looking forward for these kind of things.
And you're going to be fine. You're not, this here is the easiest, well, it's easiest for me, but this is what I do every day, right? I don't market every day. Sit down and create copywriting. Oh no, I pay people for that. That's just not my thing.
You can always pay me. I mean,
Hey, sweetie, I got the best copywriter. She lives in Mexico. She's a Canadian.
really?
Yeah, she went down.
I love Mexico, honestly, as you can tell. This is actually
yeah, I
from,
can see that. She flew down there on April the 9th and she's still in quarantine and she loves it. She says it's the best place ever. So
Oh, I almost wish I had done that. I back in 2017, my father took me for a spring break, and
nice.
I loved the culture. I literally walked into town myself. My dad was giving me crap for it the whole way, but I was like, it was an amazing place to experience.
It's one of my bucket list after I go to the Yukon.
Actually, that'd be really neat too. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hit the Yukon. But
Yeah.
outside of that, Adam, do you have any other questions? I mean, tax related, business related, mentorship related, loans, angel investors. There's so many things out there for small business owners and young entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I am looking honestly at a loan option possibly in the future just for some startup equipment.
Right.
I just don't know how that would look because unfortunately I don't know what my credit score is like or how to even check it properly because you go to one site, it says one number, you go to another site, it says another number, and I'm like, that's it.
Well, don't forget, it's not only your personal credit score that's important, it's what you're going to do with it and how you're going to spend it.
Fair.
Right.
Okay.
So Adam, if you're wanting to borrow $100,000 to build a race car,
yeah,
I'm just pulling stuff from my head here.
and
this race car was run on electric. There we go. I'm really pulling stuff now. And it's the fastest car ever. If you can show that this car is going to make you money in 6 months, the people that are loaning you the money are going to get the return faster. Right. So that's where the project plan or the, help me here, Morgan, I can't think of the word. What is the word? Not the budget.
the business plan.
Thank you. Drew an absolute blank. You'd think that I was doing taxes all day. So if you can show in your business plan that this particular loan is going to do the following and create this much profitability based on your projections, that is going to move the loan just as much as your credit rating.
I'm so happy you honestly said that, Tamitha, just because honestly it confirmed that the last 2 years of schooling was definitely worth it. Because that's kind of what we've helped do is really cool. Our final projects where we actually helped businesses local and out in Mississauga start. But it was more of the selling points that we were trying to focus on.
Got you.
Mentioned a little food truck at Mississauga, but then we gave it a theme of family friendly, gave it a little dog mascot, and it actually had 3 different versions of the dog mascot. Just to appeal to 3 different audiences out in living in that area.
And
so
how did it go over?
Honestly, it was really, really fun, really nice. We got a great grade on it, which was good. He seemed really happy. The owner almost incorporated all of the students' ideas into his final business. So that was really nice to see.
That's nice. Now you're getting into video, is that correct?
Actually, basically what happened was I got into video first. But then I unfortunately didn't know how to get the videos to the target audiences, as well as how businesses that are selling their products hit the key points of those products for the consumers. And it was that point that I realized I need a bit of an advertising background so I can get the proper message out to the people they're trying to hit.
Well, I have my own unique thought processes on marketing, which I am not going to share with you because you probably have your own. So I wish I've found a few of my own that work for me, but every industry is different, right?
It's true. Very true.
Okay.
We do have one question in the chat.
Oh, thank you, because I'm not watching the chat at all.
To piggyback on the question Adam asked, can you claim any expenses for personal vehicles used in your business corporation?
You absolutely can, as long as it is used for business, okay? I can't make this any more clear than this. You cannot claim personal on a business. It is against the law. That is called it's evading taxes. That is against the law. You are allowed to claim any business expenses on business income. So if I go out and I purchase a vehicle and it's a personal vehicle and I use it for a business, I cannot claim the cost of the vehicle on my business because I use the vehicle for personal use. But I can claim the mileage and any expenses that are attributable to those miles that I drove for business only. Let me give you an example. I get in my car, I drive to Max Milk to pick up milk, but then I drive to my customer's home to drop off a product, and then I drive home again. Driving from my home to the store to pick up milk is not a business expense. But driving from the store to go to my customer to drop off said product and then drive home, that is business mileage. Does that make sense? Okay.
And then another question. And if you use personal funds like that from a personal line of credit to fund or purchase your business, how do you factor the repayment of that capital fund into your accounting because it was not a business loan?
So this question can be answered two different ways. If you are a corporation, has a different answer than if you're a sole proprietor. May I ask if this is sole prop versus incorporation, or do you just want both answers?
It was just a question in the chat there. Incorporation.
Okay, so incorporation is different. Incorporation, you actually went out and you created a loan in the corporate name, and it is therefore a liability, and it's located on your balance sheet. As you pay down that loan, a portion of it is principal and a portion of it is interest. So you are going to take those two, which are expenses, like you're going to expense the interest, but you're going to decrease the value of the loan every time you make a payment. That's how you record it as a corporation. If you're a sole proprietor, all monies that you make, all monies that you borrow are yours. It's not your business, unfortunately. It does fall on you as an individual, whereas a corporation, it's a living, breathing entity of its own, and the business can go out and get themselves into loans or situations and purchase credit cards or those types of things in itself. Clear as mud, probably?
Probably.
Yeah. If you have further questions on that, just reach out to me privately. We can have a one-on-one discussion.
Okay, awesome.
I would much rather just do those one-on-ones. It's a lot easier than having those generalized guesses.
Right. So we are going over a little bit of time here. I just wanted to thank Tamitha for being our guest speaker today. And Brianna from Small Business Center is here, and Trendval is a sponsor. So if she wants to say a couple words on behalf, that would be great.
Yes. Thank you, Tamitha. That was fabulous. And of course, thanks, Morgan, for putting this all together. Yes, I am with the Small Business Center. So I am Brianna Ross, the Office and Events Coordinator there. We're managed by Trendval. So when you mentioned Trendval, if you have any questions,
they are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So if you guys have any questions regarding business counseling, we offer free business counseling. So if you are looking for a mentor, we probably know someone that we can essentially hook you up with. So Adam, if you have any questions, if you don't know where we are, we're actually located right at Loyalist College in the Pioneer Building. So right now we're currently working from home. So if you do have any questions at all regarding anything, or if you need to find out essentially a little bit of information about grants or funding, we are a great resource as well. We will have a grant coming out, possibly 2 grants coming out in June. So if you want to check out our website around that time, it's a great opportunity. Again, thank you everyone for attending, and this was a fabulous webinar. Thank you guys.
And thank you, yes, to everyone for attending. And be sure to check out the QIP social media for upcoming events later on this year.
Awesome.
And this
Thanks,
webinar
everyone.
is recorded, so I will be sending out the link shortly once it's processed. Perfect.
Awesome.
Enjoy your day, everyone, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Thanks for hosting.
Bye.
Bye.